eBay is dead. You hear this all the time. There are naysayers out there that will tell you eBay is dead. You can't make sales on eBay. Switch to Poshmark or switch to Amazon or something else. And let me just say this, eBay is not dead. I'm making great money on eBay. I'm getting great margins, and I'm able to make a full-time living selling on eBay. So thank you for watching this video, and let's get started. If you don't know who I am a full-time reseller on eBay, and that basically just means that I go to thrift stores and yard sales and pick up items that I'm going to sell, pick up for a few bucks and sell them for 5 to 10 times the amount of money on eBay. And of course on the side I'm doing videos like this to help you and just to show you exactly what I'm doing with my business, what I'm picking up, what I'm selling and things like that. So thank you for watching this video. Remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'm gonna go ahead and get into what this video is today, which is the 20 items that sold for me in the last week. Now let me just start by saying these are not the only 20 items that I sold. I just went through and picked out 20 items that are very unique, most of them different from the others, just so you can get an idea of different brands, different types. And just keep in mind that primarily I sell men's clothing. So though you may see an occasional women's item in the lot, most of the items, 98, 99% of the items that I sell are men's clothing, specializing in like outdoor gear and everyday attire. So thank you for tuning along, and let's just go ahead and get started on this video. I'll start with number 1, which is the oldest, and work my way to the most recent. This item that I'm showing you first is a great vintage item, great vintage brand as well. The brand is LL Bean. And this is a button-up chamois shirt. I used to pronounce this chamois, and thankfully a viewer said, you're pronouncing it wrong, it's chamois. So whoever you are, thank you so much. This is just like a heavy cotton shirt. It's great for times like this. We're headed into the fall and winter season, and these things will just fly off the shelf pretty quickly. So this shirt that I have here was just like a great color, a burgundy, sold for a best offer of $33. Now that includes shipping, so keep that in mind. All these items do include shipping, but $33 is a great price on a shirt that I paid a few dollars for. I do want to add before I move on to the next item that LL Bean is a great brand, but especially if you find they're vintage. They do have a lot of like button-down shirts, and though I would swear by the brand in general, I will say that that the vintage pieces of LL Bean are actually a lot greater than you can get more money, and they sell faster than just some of the like more traditional like button-down dress shirts. So keep that in mind when you're at the store. That vintage sells well. This next item up, and I'm thinking about doing a video on the Goodwill bins because that's where I got this item. Basically, and I think I've said this before in the past, but the Goodwill bins are just a last stop place where you get things and you pay by the pound instead of paying like $4 or $5 per item. And so these jeans I more than likely picked up for $1. They were True Religion women's skinny jeans. I don't typically pick up True Religion or women's jeans in general, but because they were only $1, I knew that I could get in the 20s for these, and they did sell within a couple weeks of listing. So True Religion is a great brand if you can, pay a little amount for them. I paid $1, and I took a best offer of $28 and sold them with, like I said, within a couple weeks of listing. That was a great sale, and for paying $1, I pocketed probably around $15 to $20 in profit. This next item is an item that sold within a week, and what I've started noticing is that a lot of the items I'm buying now, I've kind of adjusted the way that I source items to only looking for brands that sell for certain amounts, and I'm noticing that the items I'm picking up now are selling a lot faster than items that I would have picked up a year ago. And so it's a great thing for me, but I am still stuck with some older inventory I'm trying to get rid of. But these actually sold within a week of listing. Justin boots, they're a great brand, and they're women's gypsy boots. I had these listed around the $60 to $70 range. I got an offer for $50. And I definitely took it within a week of listing because I only paid $10. So $10 into a 50, 5 times my money ratio there, and that is a great sale. So love it when shoes go for $50 or more. On this next item, I can't remember if I've mentioned this in the past on videos, but I'll just go ahead and touch on it because it is an item that I wouldn't have picked up if it was just the one, but I got 50 of these, and I got 50 for $5. So I paid 10 cents a piece. And I knew it was something where I could just make 1 or 2 listings, and then they would just slowly fall off the shelves and be sold. And that's the case. And I didn't realize how great these things would actually sell because there weren't a lot of sold comps. So I took a chance. $5 for 50 is not really a risk at all. I was willing to lose the $5. These were like an American Airlines travel kit that had like a collab brand with Cole Haan. So they had like some socks and lotion and shampoo and toothbrush and things like that you would need when you were traveling. So I picked up 50 of these, 10 cents a piece, as already mentioned, and they've just been selling like 2, 3, 4 a week for like that $10 to $15 range. These sold for full price of $14.79. And so though I don't typically go for like a $5 profit margin, if I can make $5 2 or 3 times a week and only have the one listing, I will make an exception. That's what I did here. Like I said, great sale on these. I'm about half sold on the 50, so still have about 20, 25 left, and we'll see how long those take to sell. This next item, I actually had up in my store for quite some time, and it was Duluth, which is a great brand, but I think the prices on these have dropped some and it sat for a while. I actually just recently this week went through my whole store. I do it about every 6 months, and I start like adjusting prices and titles and things to old inventory. I dropped this down $5 or $10 and it sold on a best offer of $29. So it's a Duluth cotton flannel. It is a men's medium, which is on the smaller side. So the reason why I'm getting less money for this is just due to the size. But Duluth is a great brand, especially cotton flannels now. Like I said, heavier, thicker shirts are going to go fast during this fall and winter season. So great sale on an item that I readjusted and changed the price on, and it sold within a day. This next item I was actually surprised by. This brand has been rising for me in my perception of it, because it's Woolrich. And though I would say I haven't been picking up Woolrich except in the last like 2 or 3 months. I found this shirt at the Goodwill bins for like $1, and I picked it up because it was lightweight, probably less than $1. And it sold for a full price of $39.79 for a cotton flannel, which kind of shocked me. So keep an eye on Woolrich, but I would only pick up the cotton flannels. Don't pick up like the dress shirts or just more of the standard shirts. You're looking for the heavier fabric again. And I know I keep mentioning this, but that is really what the secret is to some of these shirts. Is we're in the season of fall, so people are looking for heavier layers. And this was an XL, which is a great size. Anytime you can find XL and up, it's going to sell faster than, say, the medium cotton flannel that I had before. So I listed it, and within 2 weeks of listing it, $39.79 full price. And so for something I paid $1 for, I got close to probably $30 profit. I'd say $25 to $30 in that range. But yeah, like I said, Woolrich, only look for the cotton flannels, and I've probably sold 3 or 4 in the last month for that $30 to $40 range. So Woolrich is kind of just picking up for me. These next 2 items I actually sold to the same buyer, and I've noticed that this brand in particular has dropped because a lot of people are picking up Tommy Bahama. It's still a great brand if you know what to look for. And I will say this, because I have people on TikTok and YouTube who are asking me, how do you know what to look for? Now, you want something that's a little out of the ordinary. You want great material. You want great colors. And honestly, it varies from brand to brand and shirt to shirt or pant to pant. But these 2 shirts were in excellent condition. The size was great. So they were Tommy Bahama 2XL Hawaiian shirts. As you can see, they have a great floral, like bright color pattern. On top of that, they were just in excellent condition. No stains, no rips or anything. They didn't even look worn that much. They were taken great care of. And they sold to the same buyer. I had them listed for that $40 to $50 range, and the buyer came along, made an offer on both for $35 a piece, and I accepted. So 2 shirts for $70. I think I paid around $10 for both of those. So yeah, that was a great flip. I love it when buyers come along and make offers on multiple items. It's actually it's a lot of fun for me because, one, you save on shipping when you can combine. So I'm always willing to negotiate even a little lower on offers when I know a buyer is making multiple offers on multiple items. So Tommy Bahama, keep an eye on the bright colors, the larger sizes, but if it's just the standard solid colors and it's an older style, don't pick it up. It probably isn't worth it. With this next item, I said I don't pick up a lot of women's, but there are certain things that I look for, and this is one of them. So keep an eye on this, because here's another vintage LL Bean piece, and they sell across men's and women's. So if you can find it, they're big sellers. This item was a vintage LL Bean wool sweater. And let me just give you a secret on sweaters, guys. Cotton is at the lower end. Wool is at the higher end. So if you find 100% lamb's wool, 100% merino wool on a lot of brands, those are going to be your winners. Stay away from the cotton on most items, or just know that if you are picking up a cotton sweater, it's going to sell for less money. But when it's wool and it's LL Bean and some other brands as well, it definitely sells really well. And I had this listed at $50. Buyer came in a day after listing it, made an offer for 40 and definitely took it. So took that offer for 40. And the great thing about wool is because it's lighter, it ships first class. So you can just roll it up, shove it in a poly mailer, and it will ship out for under $6, which is great. This next item up is a brand that I have just loved, but for some reason it's just dropped quite a bit. And there's a couple brands in here that have dropped like this, but Untuck It, I used to get $35 to $45 for these shirts, and now they're just selling for less. And I don't know if a lot of sellers have come in and started selling them. That's what makes sense to me, but Untuck It is still a brand where I can get $30 for. I'd say on the low end, 25. 35 is probably the most you'll get for a used shirt. But this shirt was a 2XL. It was a solid color. I had it for around 35. Buyer made an offer for 30 and I took it. If I can get $30 for a shirt, that's usually pretty great. I won't complain about that, especially if I'm only paying $4. That results in me getting like a $18 to $20 profit. This Untuck It shirt, $30 best offer, and I actually went into my store and dropped a bunch of those down so that they'll start selling as well. This next brand, I only will look for certain things, so don't hear me say that pick up this brand at all costs. Saddlebred is, I think it's like a Kohl's or a Sam's brand, like Sam's Club. I'm not actually sure. I know it's a department store, but you know, it doesn't have a really good resale value. I see a lot of these shirts here, you know, like the button-down dress shirts, and I pass by all the time. What I will pick up is this item right here, which sold, and I actually picked up, I think I found like 3 or 4 of these in one day. It was like a Saddlebred corduroy jacket day. I picked up 3 or 4 of these for like $5 to $10 a piece, and this one sold for $49.79. It was like a navy blue, great condition, excellent jacket. And again, it has to do with the season. You've got seasonal items and colors. Corduroy is more like a fall, winter, and the colors that I sold, which this one was navy blue, I sold like a burnt red or a brown, definitely a fall color. So you just have to know what season it is. And if you're in the middle of summer, you're probably not going to sell that item, but you know, I'll still go ahead and list it and wait until it sells. But $49.79 on this, including shipping. It was a great item. I believe I shipped it out a regional rate A box. And yeah, gotta love the sales on the blazers. This next item was an item that I hadn't found before. It was another collab item. I don't typically pick up Adidas, but I did find this sweater, and it had like the Porsche design logo on the front. And on top of that, it was 2XL. So those two things were going really well for this item. It was like a light sweater. So I wouldn't have picked it up if it didn't have the Porsche design, but with Porsche, I knew that there would be someone out there that wanted that piece. Now this item I had listed at $50. I had 2 or 3 buyers come in right away and make like $20, $25 offers. And for a second, because I hadn't sold anything like this, I was like, am I way off on the comps? But I just waited and I waited, and I'd only had this about 3 to 4 weeks. And finally it sold on a best offer of $40. So I was very glad that someone did come and scoop it up for that price. And because it was very lightweight, it went first class. So great item there. And be looking out for those collab pieces. You know, if you can find a couple brands that collab together and one of those brands is an excellent brand, then, you know, typically that's going to drive the value up. And that's what happened in this case. If this were just a regular Adidas sweater, I probably would have gotten half the amount that I got. How are y'all doing out there? You doing all right? I'm drinking water in between, but I'm good to go. All right, next up, this next item, I was kind of surprised by the amount that I got, but for this brand, Eddie Bauer, it was a vintage Eddie Bauer sweater, and this was a cotton sweater. So remember I said cotton sells for less, but there are certain items that are exceptions, and because this was a fisherman sweater, it was heavy, has the very thick like knitting, and it has the buttons. So the fisherman style sweaters definitely drive up the price on items. If this were just a regular crew neck, I probably would have gotten 20 to 25. But this item, $37.79, I had a couple offers on this as well. And I will say this, with this item, I had an offer for probably $25. And I've sold many of these Eddie Bauer fisherman sweaters for the $30 to $40 range. So I countered at 30. And they just weren't having it. They weren't accepting my offer, and we kept going back and forth, and I just kept sticking at 30. But lo and behold, when you get offers on an item, even if they're bad offers, know that even when you get 4 or 5 straight offers, if you have a stingy buyer who's offering like $12 on an item clearly worth more than that, just keep countering at what you want. And even if that buyer doesn't take it, it's happened several times where I have an item, I'm getting offers, they're bad offers, and then someone comes along and pays full price for that same item within the same day that I'm getting those offers. That was the case with this one. I had that offer, the buyer making offers for $20.25. I kept countering at $30, and then someone came in and paid full price, $37.79. So whenever that happens, it's just a bonus because I would have taken $30. I got almost $8 more, and this shipped out in a padded flat rate envelope. So keep an eye on Eddie Bauer Fisherman sweaters that are heavy, and don't be afraid to wait for that buyer to come along. This next item was a brand that I'm familiar with, Duluth, and I've actually already shown you one, but it was a woman's like lounge pants, like casual, like hiking pants or lounge pants. And so I wasn't really sure what I was gonna get for this, and I didn't really have a lot of comps. But when you pay $4 for something and the brand is great, you know you can take a chance. So I listed these in the $40 range, and someone came along and made an offer for $35. Gladly took that. Duluth for the win. Thanks a lot, buyer, whoever you are. And I was happy with that sale. This next item I actually have right here because I'm about to ship it out. So I'll just show you this and then I'll give you the picture as well. This is a vintage Polo Ralph Lauren cotton flannel. Now Polo Ralph Lauren is everywhere, and if you do a search, you're gonna have thousands of results pop up. And even with button-down shirts or, you know, just the standard button-down or polo shirt. So you have to know what to look for with Polo Ralph Lauren, but let me give you a secret. Polo Ralph Lauren cotton flannels sell very fast for a lot of money. This shirt right here, it was a large, great color. This is more of a holiday color, so be on the lookout for holiday colors, your reds, your greens, your blues, that are kind of your Christmassy or fall colors. But this item I listed, and within a day I got an offer for $40 and accepted it. I had it priced at about $50, accepted at $40, and again, another item that ships out first class. So great sale on that item. And it's probably the second cotton flannel, Polo Ralph Lauren cotton flannel that I've sold in 3 weeks, and probably a total of $80 for both of those combined. So you gotta love that. One tip I will give you on the Polo Ralph Lauren cotton flannels, if you can find the shirts that have the padded elbows, those will give you $5, $10, $15 more just because it's got a little bit of a distinction from the rest of the shirts, and it kind of just says higher quality than just your standard shirt. So that one didn't have it, but if you can find it, you can price it a little higher. And then I would put in the title of that listing, padded elbows or padded or something like that, just so you draw your distinction from the rest of the listings out there. So $40, great sale. This next brand is another brand that has come down a little bit, but still keep an eye out for it, Robert Graham. I believe I paid up a little bit for this, and I paid $7 or $8 at a store, and was a little I was a little hesitant to pay that much, but I knew that Robert Graham would give me at least $30, and so that's what happened. I listed it within a week. Around the $40 range. Buyer came along, offered me $30, and I took it. Now with Robert Graham, stay away from like the older styles. What you want, and this one didn't really have it. I think I could have gotten more if it did have it, but with Robert Graham, you want the flip cuff. So the dress shirts where you flip the cuff and it's got like a bright pattern or paisley or some kind of floral design. Those shirts will definitely give you more money, and you can probably get closer to the 40 or up from there range if you have some kind of paisley design on the flip cuff. I'm still happy with a $30 sale. I mean, I think my goal is to have a minimum of 25 and up from there. So anytime I hit 30 or higher on one item, it's great. This next item up, the picture's not that great, just because if you've been taking pictures and reselling online for any time, you know that there's certain colors that are just really hard to capture, and blacks and blues and dark greens, depending on the lighting and stuff, can really be tricky, and brown as well, can be tricky and hard to capture the actual color. And so I've just done a lot of things, and maybe I'll do a video at some point, but sometimes the greens can come out like grays or whatever, but nonetheless, you can see in this picture, the black actually looks kind of like a gray. But these are North Face lounge pants, and they were in excellent condition. They were large, looked almost brand new. I had them around the mid-30s and took a best offer of $28 within a couple weeks of listing. So happy with that, lightweight, first class, and got it out the door. This next item up, I haven't sold a lot of, and I actually have like 5 or 6 of these in my store. The brand is Nat Nast, and it's more of like a Hawaiian casual brand. And I picked this up for, I think, $4. It was a silk, yeah, 100% silk, red short sleeve, had like a little diamond pattern on it. I don't know if you can see it from the picture, or I guess that's a square pattern, but Still got a best offer of $30 for this. I don't know if I would say go out and pick out a lot of Nat Nast unless you can find distinct patterns, but make sure it's in good condition. And yeah, one thing that you can say, if it is this, you can see in my title that I put Nat Nast Luxury Originals, and that kind of does distinguish it from some of the other Nat Nast shirts out there. So you can put that in the title and that may help. $30 sale, and moving on to the next. This next item, I actually priced it really high, hoping that I could find that one random person out there that was willing to pay $60 or $70 for this shirt. It was one of the really old Tommy Bahamas. I thought Tommy Bahama had been around for a while, but I looked it up and I think they've only been around since like the 90s, early 90s. Maybe someone out there knows more about it than I do, and you can post a comment and let me know if you do know more about the Tommy Bahama. But yeah, I posted it as vintage, which it is vintage, but it was in excellent condition and it was an XL. And so I posted it around $60, $70 thinking, there were some comps around there, but we're moving into winter and fall. I didn't want to wait another 6 months to sell this item for that high. I figured why not take an offer for lower. So actually this morning I got an offer. I had it around, I think $60 or just under. The offer came in for $39.95 and I thought, what the heck? I just sold 2 Tommy Bahamas for $35 each, very similar to this one, so I should accept this $40 offer. And yeah, you got to be happy with that. $40, Tommy Bahama shirt, great. Remember, bright colors, palm trees, something like that. Those are the ones you want, and this was no exception. So great sale on that Tommy Bahama. This next item up, I had 3 of these. This is the second one that I've sold. I picked these up for 25 cents a piece. They were kind of on the last clearance rack on this thrift store before they got pulled out and sent away or recycled. And so I bought all 3 of these. They're the same size. They're Prana Vaha pant. It's just more of like a lounge pant. And if you don't know the brand Prana is like an outdoor brand. They have like hiking pants. It's a higher end outdoor brand. So hiking pants, jeans, like your hiking shirts. So I wasn't as familiar with these lounge pants, but I know the brand, and for $1 each, I knew I couldn't go wrong. So I picked these up, 75 cents for all 3. The first one I sold on a best offer for $30, and these sold actually this week for $34.79. I still have one more pair in my store. They're actually like a red color, so they may take longer to sell, but already gotten $65 on 50 cents, 75 cents invested, so very happy. Great sale on that, and I love it when I can find an item for quarters or $1 and flip it into 30 or 40 bucks. That is just sweet. And I believe that this is the last item of the 20 item lot that I've sold in the last week. It just happened today. It was actually a really good sale on an item I picked up for probably $10 at Goodwill. And I say probably because I know the Goodwills here, they don't really discriminate on brands. Usually, even when they're pricing something up, it's only like $8 or $9. So they're not. I've seen some thrift stores that are gouging for like 20 or 30 or 40 for an item, and the stores here are great. So I wouldn't have paid probably more than $10 for this item at Goodwill, just because they just kind of price it as a jacket rather than pricing it by the brand. But this was a heavyweight jacket. It was 2 layers. Now I will say with Columbia, if you're looking for like ski jackets or winter jackets like this one, it needs to be in excellent condition. It needs to be a newer style within the last few years, which can be hard to distinguish, but you can kind of tell when something is newer as compared to like 10 or 20 years old. This one looked brand new. It didn't look like it had been worn at all. And the cool thing about this, and you can see in the title, Columbia Interchange, a lot of times with skiing or like winter layers, people want multiple options. And this was actually a waterproof jacket that had the hood. It was puffy, it was heavy, but you could also unzip it and it had another layer underneath like a fleece. And so, if someone wants the option of different layers or different availability of warmth, it's a great option. And when you have something like that, like a 2 or a 3 layer or reversible or just different options like that, you can get more money. And so I priced this like $89, I think it was $85, and I just took a best offer for $70 on this, which is a great sale for something I paid $10 for. So if you've got winter jackets or heavy coats, especially if they have like the pit zips or a hood, or these are all things that you can mention in the description, start listing them now because they will start selling for ski season and winter activities. All right, so I'm actually surprised at how quickly that went by. Those are the 20 items, or 20 of the items that I sold in the last week, not to mention some of the other ones that are more of like the bread and butter items that I've mentioned on videos in the past. I really wanted to just make sure that I hit some unique items for you today specifically, so that you have some different things than what I usually say over and over again. So I hope that was helpful for you, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and I'll do my best to answer any questions that you may have. All right, so now I have some totals for you. So for those 20 items, my grand total, let me pull it up real quick. My grand total for those 20 items were $769.90. So $769.90 that I sold in this last week. Now I am showing you some of the better selling items that I have, because I want you to find those awesome selling items that sell for 30, 40, 50 and up, rather than just giving you a bunch of $25 items. But I did have sprinkled in every day $25, $30 sales that I didn't show you. And of course, like I said, it's just because there are a lot of brands that I have mentioned in the past, and I don't want to be repetitive. And maybe I've said that like 3 times this video, so I guess I am being repetitive. So for just those 20 items, it's an average of about $39 a piece. Considering that I'm picking up items for around $5.50 a piece, to have $39 average sales price for those 20 items is great. That leaves me with about a $25 profit margin per item. So before I let you go, I want to give you 2 updates real quick. I am doing a follower giveaway on TikTok for reaching 5,000 followers. So if you follow the link that's in the description of this video, you can get into that giveaway by finding that video and following the rules. Make sure you do it by Thursday to guarantee that you get your spot in the raffle. The last announcement I have is just to remind you that in the description of all of my videos, I've got all the supplies that I use, from my shipping scale to my lighting setup to small things like tape and Scotty peelers or spot remover. So you may be looking for some of those supplies. You can find them in the description as mentioned. If you click the link, it will take you directly to Amazon, where you can make the purchase. Now, if you do follow the links to Amazon, I will get a little bit of a kickback on anything that you purchase in the next 48 hours. So even if you don't purchase things like the tape or the scale, maybe you go to Amazon to see the scale, but then you end up buying something else, I will get a little percentage back from everything you purchase in the next 2 days. So it's a little something to help me out, and I'll just say thank you in advance for considering me. And guys, these are actually the supplies that I use. I've linked everything that I use in the description. So enough said about that. I really appreciate it. All right, well, I've said enough. Have a good night, everyone. I hope you have a great week selling. Until the next video, bye.